Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, sir. My name is Lizzia Ardhita Putri, and I'm from class 24F. Today, I want to presenting the implementation of problem-based learning in developing students for English language skills. Before I start, let me explain the background of the study. So, in EFL context, English language teaching requires a teaching approach that encourages active and creative learning and meaningful as well as insightful communication. However, many students still struggle to master the four English language skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening due to teacher-centered teaching methods and limited opportunities to use the language authentically. Now, the problem-based learning method can also be interpreted as a teaching method that focuses on solving real problems, a process in which students are encouraged to be more actively involved in the learning material, and develop problem-based learning, which is a learning approach that presents contextual problems to stimulate students to learn. This is done through group work activities, feedback, and discussions. In a classroom that uses problem-based learning, students work in teams where they're asked to solve problems. In ELT, PBL encourages learners to actively use language as a tool for communication, discussion, analysis, and presentation, which potentially supports the development of integrated language skills. The next slide are research problems and research method. So I would start with the research problems that why is PBL less explored in English classes and how does PBL contribute to listening, speaking, writing, and reading skills? And why does PBL need further investigation in ELT? While for the research method, the study employs a qualitative library research method to investigate the implementation of PBL in English language teaching and its contribution to development of students' reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. The data were obtained from secondary sources, including academic books and peer-reviewed scientific journals related to English language teaching and learning, particularly those discussing PBL in EFL context. And data collection was conducted through document analysis, in which relevant literature was systematically selected based on its relevance to the research focus. The collected data were analyzed using qualitative content analysis involving the identification, categorization, and interpretation of key themes and patterns across the selected sources. So, problem-based learning can make students learn through real-world problems as well as work collaboratively, and while teacher acts as a facilitator. And the material, which is the language we use here, English language used for communication, analysis, and presentation. Okay, the next one, let's get into the result. So, why PBL is less explored in this context? So, the teachers' lack of readiness, as well as time and curriculum constraints, classroom management difficulties, and student resistance to activate learning. Also, unequal access to technology play a big role in this case. Okay, the next one, PBL contribution to students' reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. So, PBL also enhances metacognitive strategies, engagement, and comprehension through problem-driven text and web-based activities. For studies have shown that experimental groups outperform control groups on post-tests. However, methodological gaps, such as the absence of control groups, limit causal claims. Like writing skills have advanced consistently in 9 studies via interactive problem solving. These studies have shown improvements in content, organization, grammar, vocabulary, and essay structure during 8 to 14-week intervention according to the journal. PBL groups have surpassed traditional methods despite challenges such as extended preparation time and initial confusion. And based on the studies in Korean English language teaching, further support these gains in descriptive and discourse writing amid semi-structured texts. Okay, the last but not least, why further research is needed. It is because there are inconsistent in research findings, as well as limited integration of all four skills. Also, contextual differences such as culture and students' proficiency. And then there is lack of long-term studies and teacher role transformation not fully studied. Okay, the last one is the conclusion. So, PBL shifts learning from rote memorization to active, like real-world application. It empowers students as communicative agents while challenging educators to evolve as facilitators. So, future research should focus on studies that follow students over time in different English learning environments, including in Indonesia. These studies should develop PBL frameworks that can be used in many different situations. These frameworks should focus on skills related to the language skill for specific purposes, and they also should address challenges in implementation and include digital tools in a fair way. By addressing these issues, PBL can transform ELT into a dynamic skill building process that aligns with global communication needs. So that is my brief presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.